Welcome to You Are What You Love, your window into the future of spirituality. We're going to talk to you about your life and the evolution of your soul while we bring alive the essence of eternal truth. So here is your host, the author of You Are What You Love, Vaishali.
Welcome to another exciting episode of You Are What You Love. I'm your hostess, Vaishali. And today we have one of our most favorite people with us in the entire world. And of course, you would recognize that as Mr. Chuck Bergman. He is a psychic medium, he is an author, and he's an all-around great guy. And he's live in the studio with us today. So if you're listening to this, and Marie or Linda, if you're out there and you're listening to this, they're just a couple of ladies that are big fans of Chuck and usually call in, want you to know that we would love to hear from you. The call-in number is 844-390-8255. That's 844-390-8255. Also want to encourage you to go to chuckbergman.com. It's exactly as you would imagine it being spelled, Chuck, Bergman.com. And you will find the most easiest, user-friendly website to maneuver in the world. So, Chuck, without further delay, welcome back to You Are What You Love. How are you, honey?
I'm doing good. I'm trying to figure out which intro I like better, the one from you or the one from Cameron. I think yours was lengthier and probably more accurate. So I'm going to go with yours as being the better intro.
Oh, well, thank you, hon. I can interrupt myself and make mentions of going to the bathroom if that would improve it, but probably not. But so, Chuck, what you been up to, hon? We're a week off from Thanksgiving. What's going on in your world? Anything interesting?
I've been pretty busy helping families, different readings for people. And as you know, it seems like our country or the world is in a state of upset and things are changing. But there's a lot of tragedy above and beyond what we see. A lot of families going through the loss of a loved one in some form or another. And it's really been busy along that line for me. And, with the COVID thing letting up, I'm finally starting to go out and do group readings again. And they're pretty incredible. It seems like the more people you put together in a room to connect with spirit, the more connections you're going to make. So it's been pretty interesting. It's been good.
Oh, and when was the last time you had one of these group events?
I think it was just last Monday. I did a pretty big family. And some are, bigger than others. But this time of year, you find that last minute thought people have family coming in for the holidays. And they realize while they're all together, they'd also like to have a reading, and connect with a certain loved one. So,
yeah,
I get a lot of that going on this time of year, and spirit has not let me down. They've really, really been stepping up to the plate and giving good information.
Oh, great, hon. Yeah, because for a lot of people, holidays just underscore the loss of a loved one.
It is hard. And for a lot of people, this could be their first year, having to endure it without a spouse, without a child, or, whoever they lost. So I encourage anyone listening, if you want to hear from a loved one, even if it's that brief little message, that we give on the radio show, do it. It's great.
Right?
Call in.
I was having a conversation with someone who's from a different culture, and I know you get this a lot, honey. God doesn't want you talking to dead people. That's terrible. Why would you talk to a dead person? And she's like, I can't even conceivably imagine of any reason why anyone would want to talk to somebody who's dead. And I said, well, there are a lot of lonely widows and widowers out there that have spent all of their adult life with somebody, and now they're all by themselves. And they're comforted to know that their loved one is doing well and is still with them. And that when they go through things, that in their life that are difficult, that their loved one is right by them. When these ladies get a chance to call in and talk to Chuck on my show, and their loved one can say, I was with you when you got that fender bender. Don't worry. I wouldn't have been mad. I wouldn't have yelled at you. It's okay. And then the woman starts crying and that says, that's the first thing I was thinking of, is how mad my husband would be if he was alive. But he was with me and it's okay. And I'm going to make it. And it brings these women so much comfort, so much love. And you're sitting here telling me that that's ungodly? Or
I know.
God give them that kind of comfort? What's the matter with you?
I feel that any person out of the body, you leave your body here, you've got to be closer to God than we are.
Right.
You're vibrating closer to God's frequency. You're part of his realm and everything. I would think if it were bad, God would put his foot down and say, I don't want you doing that. I believe God has a hand in helping with the readings, making them happen, making the people get reconnected again. And another element, because I've thought about it carefully, my mom and my grandmother were both mediums. And I've had them come through. Not only do I get to talk to my mom on occasion and my grandmother, but I've had other mediums bring them through. And if you knew my mom, she would be the type to say, Chuck, I was a medium. Now you're doing it. And they gave me hell when I came over, when I crossed over. They were really mad at me for doing it. She would tell me, stop doing what you're doing. It's evil. It's bad. But I get just the opposite. She lets me know she's here to help. And all I really care about is my mother is the same, other than she's like 30 years younger and as beautiful as ever. So
right.
I feel good about it.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking, that makes good sense, and there's someone in my life I'd like to just make sure that they're okay, or I have confusion about how and why they crossed, and I'm having problems letting go, or I'm having problems with closure, or I'm struggling with some aspect of the grief process, you're welcome to call in 844-390-8255. I know Chuck is a very sensitive guy, and I know he picked this date because he's aware for most of us holidays are things we're looking forward to. But for a lot of people that Chuck works with, they're painful times that only underscore the agony of their loss. So Chuck, thank you so much for wanting to come on and do your service. I'm assuming you reached out to Linda and Marie. Have you heard from them, hon?
I put it on Facebook. I sent it out. I did hear from Marie. She didn't indicate whether she'd be able to make it today or not, but she's aware of the show. And she actually put a very nice paragraph. I'll have to send it to you later about how one of the last shows was was a taped show, but she listened to all of it and it involved herself. And it really meant a lot. It really helped a lot. So even listening to a playback was very beneficial.
Oh, I bet. I in some ways, I think that the playbacks are superior because you can listen to it over and over again, or you can play back one part and go, wait a minute, I didn't hear that last time, or I didn't hear that way last time. And you can saturate yourself in the communication instead of, you can get into a bathtub and soak in communication versus jumping into a shower where it's all pouring over you really quickly.
That makes a lot of sense. Yes.
And I know that you make these recordings and give them to people, and it's really helpful to have them and be able to play them back.
It helps. And I've had some people contact me later and basically say, I don't know how you continued the reading. I was a stick in the mud. I didn't do much at all. I didn't contribute. I didn't help. And I can really hear it in the recording that, I could have done a lot better.
And, again, this is God saying, whatever this person needs, I'm going to make sure that they get this information, because Chuck is one of my favorite vessels. And if I ask him to do this, I know it'll get done.
Yeah, and it does help. And I don't know. I think I've told the story how when I had my first reading, I was equally bad, and I didn't know what to expect. I guess I was looking for it to be a fraud. That's what I expected.
Even with your mom and your grandma being
Well, here's the funny thing. I had reached that point in my life, probably late 20s, and that's when it was started coming through for me. Up to that point, I had no idea that my mom and her mom were mediums. And my mother being from England, I only learned about it when one of my cousins came over for a vacation, and talking with her name is Yvonne, found out she was a medium. She had written a couple of books, and then she told me about the family being involved in it. And for whatever reason, my mom didn't want me to know about it. And when I would bring up that I was either seeing or hearing something, she would say, no, that's your imagination. And no, that's not normal. And, you know, she kept me away from it.
Mm. Why do you think she did that? You weren't just to let you have a normal childhood and let you come into it later when you had more of an adult acumen to kind of sort through it?
Yeah, and it kind of falls in line with herself. She had the ability, but I'd learned later, she would give readings to her close friends, but she always wanted to keep it secret.
Oh, yeah. Donna Dvorak, she was born and raised in the Czech Republic, and, that was before the wall fell. So she was saying that, her family wouldn't let her tell anyone she could talk to animals. It had to be a big secret because, that's frowned upon.
Yeah, I guess it's great that it's changing the way it is, but I think the lady you were talking to will never change. Even if there's someone around her that passes away and she accidentally ends up in front of a medium or a group,
Yeah.
I feel she's still one of these hardcore uh, people in denial that will never accept that this is possible and that this is good.
Yeah,
You know, so
that's our minds are often our worst enemy.
yeah, I did a group reading in Jacksonville, Florida. I think it was down near the beach area. And it's funny because it was a luncheon, and and then after the luncheon, I was supposed to get up and pick a few people to read and everything. And they had heavily, advertised the event. So people were there. And I'll never forget, it was so funny because I pointed to a lady in the audience, and I haven't thought about this one in a long time. But because we're talking about people not being in tune with it, what happened was I said, I don't know what this is, but I'm on a golf course. I'm running for cover. It's starting to rain like anything. And then boom, I get struck by lightning. And the lady that I'd had asked to stand up, she looked kind of bewildered and everything. And she said, well, that's how my husband died. I said, what do you mean? And she said he was playing golf. The storm came up and he got struck by lightning and killed. Of course, in my head, I'm thinking like, spirit's working with me good today. I'm really happy that the validation came through. But then she made the comment, she said, I didn't know we were going to be doing this today. I don't know if I like it. And, by the end of the afternoon, she became one of my best friends because she heard not only her own reading, because I gave a little bit more, but as I moved on to other people, then she realized it was okay. Other people were getting readings and a lot of the stuff was making sense. And
Yeah.
she, it really did help. But initially, she was in panic mode. Should I allow this reading to happen or not?
There's just so much ignorance about the spiritual world and spirituality. And unfortunately, we live at a time where there's a lot of people out there with a lot of crappy information that,
You're right. I didn't think of it that way, but you're right. Yes.
and so it's much more, the law of probability dictates that you're far likely to come across some real hack jobs before you find a really good, authentic person, just because the world is littered with more hack jobs than it is with real authentic people, because we wouldn't be where we're at the end of this dark cycle, this dark age, if there were a lot of really great people here right now.
Yeah.
And if there was a lot of truth that was publicly known. But there's a lot of the real quality truth seems to be very few people who understand it. And yeah, there's just so much misunderstanding about spirituality and the spiritual world, and about what you do, which is why I'm grateful you come on the show and give people tips about how to get a good reading. Why we're talking about that, why don't you just for somebody who's listening who's never had a reading before, and they're realizing that their mindset that they bring to the reading is going to determine, like a rudder on a boat, whether you go out to sea and get in deep water and do some good fishing, or whether you end up on the rocks on shore. Would you mind talking to people what you've learned about, like, maybe the top 3 or 4 things that would be useful to do to organize your mindset to getting the most out of a reading?
How can I? You've already explained it perfectly. I'm sitting here laughing at your description of being on the boat and the rudder, and it's so accurate of what guiding a reading is all about. Spirits don't have headaches. They don't have bills to pay. They don't get tired. They don't have to do housework. They're living a much better life than we are on the other side. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Do they miss us? Absolutely. They hang around us. They want to join in and tell us funny things or whatever, but we've got that little wall. We can't connect with them. So to hear you say that, it's just so funny that I think Spirit looks for the opportunity, and when it's made available to them, they take advantage of it. And then to have a person here try and test you, like I had it the other night, and I was really disappointed in the way they made the whole reading all about testing me, which basically I've been professionally doing readings for over 30 years. I don't need to be tested anymore. I think the proof is in the pudding. Don't test me. Let's enjoy the reading. Let's connect with your loved one. But yeah, the whole reading was about, and here's one thing I want to explain too. People may or may not feel the way I do, but when a person books a reading, and we'll just say it's you, Shali, you book a reading with me, and just say you and I are going to connect on the phone at 8:00 tonight. I see a little bit of deceit in the concept of, I call you, we start talking, and there's someone else with you that I'm not aware of sitting next to you, whether it's a spouse, a friend, a child, but someone else who will be guiding you along to their belief system, instead of it being you and I connecting and me being able to say, hey, this is what I'm getting, this is what they're feeling, or whatever. But they keep it hidden. To me, that's deceit. If the person says to me, is it okay if my husband's here or my child or whatever, I'm fine with it. You can have 10 people in the room. I really don't care. But I do care when I'm feeling that I'm talking to you, but I'm also feeling resistance from someone else in the room. Their negative energy will come through. And typically, another person being in the room unknown, the whole purpose is to debunk what I'm doing. Either they're writing on a pad or they're giving a thumbs down. I don't know what they're doing. But with the negative energy, it can really crash a good reading that the person could have had. And when we first started talking about this, the very first reading I had, there were things I did that was wrong, because even though I paid the money for the reading, I'm sitting in front of a lady who's done it for years. When she said to me, Chuck, your mother's coming through. She's holding her hands kind of cupped, and she's got a real little small gift with a gold bow on top. And she's saying, here, give this to Chuck. And my words were, oh, thank you very much. But, that's kind of generic. Any mom could want to say, here's a little present for my son. What I didn't tell the medium was, on that day of the reading, it was my birthday. And my attitude was, she didn't use the word birthday, so I'm not going to tell her it's my birthday. And that's wrong. That's not the way to get a reading. If I had said to her, wow, good validation, it's my birthday today, it would have kicked her energy up. She would have felt my energy rise, and it would have been positive. But I went the whole reading not giving her anything until she nailed me at the very end and said, I love your mother and I love her British accent. And Mom being from England, that there was no fighting that. Mom's from England, had the most beautiful accent, and this woman could hear it, which to this day I find amazing. That how did my mom project her accent onto the medium? But she did.
Yeah, and this is one of the tributes to God, has every detail, great and small, because God knew that that was the one detail you would hear at the end that would get you to that place of honesty and help other people learn how to not make their mind their worst restrictive enemy when they're trying to get a reading.
Yeah, just go into it with a positive mind. And I try and tell people that are close to me, one of the best, I don't like the word trick. There are no tricks.
That's right.
But if you stay positive with the reading, and right now, if I can give you one item only from your loved one, like the British accent, then it's open and shut. That's the whole reading. That's the whole case. That's their thumbprint. It's their DNA. It's your loved one. And if that's not enough for a person, I don't know what it is. I mean, hearing that about my mom made me feel like she was in the room with me. And I've had other mediums describing her, and she looks like 30 years younger. She looks beautiful. So, you can really help guide the way the reading is going. And if a piece of advice is, when I get a reading, I don't, if I'm not getting it, I'll just say, I'm not sure what that is. Don't give an abrupt no. That'll bring the energy down. And try and think like, I don't know what it is now, but I may understand it by tonight or tomorrow. And kind of get the medium, you just move on and try a couple more things. And sometimes everything will connect and make total sense when it all loops back to the very first thing. I don't know if you heard that. That's the doorbell.
Do you need to get that, hon? Are you getting somebody deliver a package?
Maybe I can. Can you take over for 1 second while I do that?
Sure, go ahead. Happens to me all the time. Go right ahead.
All right, now they're knocking. Okay.
Go ahead, honey, and I'll let people know that you're listening to psychic medium Chuck Bergman. And his website is chuckbergman.com, ChuckBergman.com. He's got some samples of his previous readings, so you can kind of take a litmus test and see if his style resonates with you, is what you feel is right for you. And he has information about his books that he's written, more information about himself if you wanted to understand more about his background. And the beauty about his website is you can book a reading right there for a day and time that's convenient for you. And what I love about his website, because sometimes when you go to book a reading, the calendar and the booking process, it's just a mess. But Chuck's is so easy to get the day, to get the time that works for you and book the reading. So, by spending as much time as you want on the website, maybe you just want to go and book the reading. It'll take you 3 minutes. You'll be in, boom, and gone. But if you want to spend more time and understand about his books and his background, you can linger as long as you like. But it's a great website. And the thing that I appreciate, being a woman in my 60s, I'm not tech savvy. I don't want something that challenges my ability to operate a website. So what I love about Chuck's is it's blow and go. You go there, you get what you need, you can make your appointment, you can find the information, and it's all real easy to use. It's real effective and real efficient. So chuckbergman.com.
And I'm back. Thank you for the ad.
Great.
Commercial time. It worked out good.
Yeah, I'm hoping that wasn't something I sent you.
Well, it was something unexpected. My sister lives nearby. She's here with her daughter, Kathy. And they came here to deliver our Christmas tree for the season.
Oh, isn't that sweet, honey?
It is. And I didn't know it was going to be today. And she had no idea I was doing the radio show today. So she's ringing the doorbell, knocking on the door. And I'm thinking, like, I don't know why my son didn't hear it in his room. But anyway, everything worked out good. It worked out real good.
Great, sweetheart. Great. I love it when that happens.
I love the smell of a Christmas tree.
Oh yeah. Oh, you got a living one. Yes, outstanding, honey. Um, yeah, I got kitties, so I don't do the Christmas tree thing. It it doesn't work out well.
I did that one year with a little kitten, and he climbed the tree and actually knocked it over after it was decorated.
Oh yeah, they're very good at that. They're incredibly talented at knocking stuff over. Yeah.
Yeah, we went out. I forget where we went when we came home, and all the ornaments were smashed, and it's laying on its side, and there's the cat looking like, I didn't do that. Like, I think you did.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. They look at you like, I bet this is your problem now, right?
he did. Just to end on a good note too, I was talking about it, the person being rather negative, and uh, they lost a daughter. So at the very end, it's kind of funny how I said, she doesn't have a very good singing voice. She said, yeah, you're right. That's a good validation. In other words, I said, because she's singing happy birthday to you, and not knowing it, that day was mom's birthday. So it ended on a good note. And I would say, I guess when you're new to it, you really do have to, you got to do your homework before your first reading. Do your homework, find out who's good at it,
Yes.
and work with them, not against them, and everything will work out good.
Yes. And obviously pray about it. Um, but there's just so much ignorance about the spiritual world in general, what happens to us when we die, how our spiritual intelligence is organized. There's just so much ignorance about that it makes sense that, people don't know how to interact with this properly. There's just too much ignorance around the whole idea. And there's just so many people now today that don't believe that when you die, you go anywhere, you just disappear and you become nothing, and you can't have an intelligent spiritual conversation with people like that.
No, and I was like that in the beginning. I really was. I thought I could only think of the ever ready bunny rabbit, when the battery dies, the bunny stops. That's the end. But
Yeah, right.
no, I learned later that I was totally out of whack. Even though I had things as a child, kind of forgotten about all of that. Things with mediumship were happening. I didn't know what it was, didn't understand it. And I thought when you're gone, but find out later that's not true.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's not true, right? Um, so have you ever had a reading with somebody and the person that came through on the other side said, oh, the problem that you're having with your animal is that they're mirroring your issues. So that's really your stuck psychological issue that you're wrestling with.
I haven't had that, no, but I can see how that would make sense.
Yeah. Taking the animal communication with Donna Dvorak, it's been a very interesting perspective widener. And one of the things that she taught me is there's this thing called mirroring, where an animal will mirror your crappy problems. And she said, if you ask an animal, if somebody's, asked you to do a reading on an animal that's, peeing on the carpet or tearing something up or barking all the time, and when you're talking to the animal and you're asking them, why are you doing this? If they say, I don't know, it's because they're mirroring the owner's problem. And I thought, I want to make a note of this and talk to Chuck and find out, because I'm learning lots of real interesting things from learning how to read animals. If any of the readings that you've ever done, the people came through and said, oh, no, your animal's here to help you with this or that, or no, they're mitigating your negative energy, or no, they're mirroring your crap back, honey. Get with the program.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of animals that do come through would be during a normal reading, and I'll usually see the breed or the color and know that it was the family pet. Some will
Yeah,
give messages, some don't, but I've worked with live animals that will give similar messages, to
yeah.
what you're talking about.
That was more the context I'm talking about is a live animal. If you're talking to a spirit on the other side, and the person that's living is having a problem with their living, pet, their animal companion, has anyone from the other side said, "Hey, no, no, that stop punishing the animal. They're trying to help you, or they're showing you something about yourself."
Yeah, I really haven't had that happen, but it's making me want to, and I've always wanted to do that. People really love pets, and when you bring them through, they're very happy. But to be able to add to it, like you're talking about now, would mean even more. And maybe I need to work a little bit harder at that part of the reading, because usually I just kind of fluff it off and try and move back to, mom, dad, uncle, or whatever. Maybe I'm going to start giving the animal a little more time, a little more, little freedom to give a message that I'm sure it would mean a lot to the owner,
Yeah, yeah,
to the person that's hurting.
a little communication lubrication. Um,
I like that.
but it may just be because oftentimes if we don't aren't aware of a concept, it's hard for the divine to use us to help with people when we're unaware of what that concept is that we're supposed to be helping people with. But now that you're aware that animals can, mirror their their owners' unwanted psychological issues back on them, and that's why they're behaving that way. Maybe that it'll come up now that that concept is in place.
I think so. I think that'll help a lot. I'm gonna try and focus on that a little and see what happens. But I have had different messages come through from animals, and I'm sure you remember the one with the little Mexican Chihuahua. That I'll never be able to beat that one. So
Tell that story again.
yeah, if anyone's new to like the animal communication part of it, this happened where I had a woman and her two children in front of me. So I'm giving them a reading, and grandma, grandpa are coming through, people they wanted to connect with, no problem at all. The reading is over. I think we're all done. And then I saw one of the girls lean in and whisper something to mom. I said, "Hey, let me in on the secret. What, is there a problem?" And they said, "Well, we have a pet that died 2 weeks ago. We were hoping the pet would come through in some form." And me not knowing, the area I live in, people have horses and donkeys and dogs, cats, you name it. And I kind of laughed at him. I said, "You're not even telling me what
What's
kind of animal this is, let alone the breed." I said, "But that's okay. Let me see I'll pick up any animal that I can pick up around you, and I'll give you a message." But for me, it was amazing. I've never heard an animal speak. And in like a male voice, I heard, he used my name. He said, "Chuck, just tell them Mexican blood runs through my veins." And I'm thinking, like, what the heck? And it turned out to be a Chihuahua, Mexican Chihuahua. And that's exactly what they wanted to hear from. So you can direct it, you can send it to a certain animal, and they will give you the answer you're looking for.
That's lovely. That's lovely. The other thing that I'm wondering if if the concept is kind of fleshed out better, if it'll come through, is I'm learning that people who are drug addicts, people that have some terrible unresolved trauma, maybe they were raped or molested as a child and they've not gotten any help for it, and it's like a wound under the skin that you're never lance, it just gets increasingly more putrefied. That if they have a pet, the pet might try to mitigate the negative energy from the addiction, from, if they're cutting and they have self-destructive habits, the animal will try to mitigate that negative energy and take it off of the person. So, if somebody's, talking to their deceased husband or loved one about why their cat or dog is behaving badly, the loved one may come through and tell you, yeah, it's because you won't stop drinking, because you're an addict, or because you won't give up the worry and you won't give up this or that. And so the animal's constantly trying to pull all this negative crap off of you.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, and it, I'm so sorry. I'm just getting text now from Marie.
Oh, hey, Marie, we love you. I'm hoping she can call in. We still got time.
Yeah, Marie, go ahead and call in, Marie. I don't quite get the text.
She's here. She's here.
Oh, okay. Maybe that.
We're on.
Yeah.
Marie,
Yeah, she's on.
Marie, howdy.
Hang on a second. Why can't she hear you? She's there.
Marie? Playing hard
Marie,
to get.
Marie, are you there? Hi, who's this? Hi, who's this? Thanks. Come on. Hi. Hello. Are you there? Why she's not answering? Okay.
Well, Marie, if you can hear this, please call back.
No, she's still there. I don't know why she can't hear you.
Marie, do you have your phone on mute? There we go. Marie?
Hello?
Marie, are you there?
I'm
Marie,
here.
hello. Okay, I'll just leave it with me. I'll get back to her.
You can hear her? I heard her say I'm here.
I know. I don't know why she's not answering. Okay, Marie.
I'm here. I'm here.
Marie. Okay, carry on. I'll get to her. Hang on.
I
Okay.
think we had problems with her phone the last time.
Yeah.
Oh, could be. Marie, can you just start talking and telling Chuck what's up, hon?
Hello?
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 Just carry on. I'll see what I can do for her.
Yeah, we're going into a Verizon commercial now. Can you hear me now?
It's funny. I've talked to her on the phone, not recently, but I've never had a phone problem with her. But when she calls into the show, she has a problem.
Sometimes the cell carriers are having problems these days. I know sometimes I have a lot of problems with mine, or it's so slow, it drops the call, or you can't transmit a text, it just times out. So it could be one of a gazillion different things. Technology just means. Hello? Marie, are you there? Doesn't look like it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, she's there.
Can you hear us, Marie?
I can hear you guys, yes.
Okay, we can barely hear you, hon. So talk as loud as you can, sweetheart.
Okay.
Marie, you don't have the phone upside down, do you?
No, but it would be possible. But
Now
I don't.
Whoa.
we can hear you much better now.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, great. How are you guys doing?
Great. We were talking about you earlier, hoping that you would call in, and
Yeah.
you did.
I was listening, and I thought Linda might call in, and I was waiting, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to call.
Thank you, honey. Thank you. We always love hearing from you.
So everything's going okay. You're all ready for Turkey Day?
I'm getting there. It kind of snuck up rather quick. I didn't realize it was next Thursday, but I'm ready, I guess.
Okay, all right. Let's see if you got anybody's coming in for me so people can hear out there that this stuff is real, and I don't understand. They should all be calling in like crazy.
Right.
So I'm taking advantage of it.
Thank you, honey.
I'm trying to think of the last one. I know Donald would be your husband. He's usually the
Yeah.
one that is dominant. He usually comes in for us, and trying to focus on him now and see if we can get anything.
Okay.
I know you're in an apartment. Why is my focus on maybe your back door area? And I'm not inside the apartment, but I'm in the little hallway beyond, just on, on the outside of your rear door. Any reason for that area to come into play?
No, because I have the front door, and then I have like a window that goes out to the patio, the balcony.
Is there a back hallway at all? A back hallway?
Oh, there's a breezeway, and I'm proud of myself that I know that in Florida now. It's a breezeway, and I know why, because when the wind is blowing, you feel it. So it's the breezeway to the back of the building. That could be it.
That could be it, because I feel like I'm not in your apartment, but I'm on the other side of the door, and I'm not the front door, but the back door or the breezeway door would work for me. Any reason for him to bring that up, though? Anything changed out there?
Yes,
or any...
it would. Yeah, every day I try to walk up and down those stairs in the back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So, like
every day I try to.
Are you doing that for exercise?
For exercise, yep.
And
Looks like-
Don would go to the gym. He was fit, and he would be certainly in favor of you doing something
Yeah.
like the stairway. But it's kind of funny. He put me back there. It's definitely Don, though. It feels really good that he's here to give some stuff. You did something with his winter clothing, either a hat or a coat, something of his. I don't know if you wore it, put it on, checked it out. I don't know what this is, but I know it's a man's clothing, and it's winter, very, very heavy.
I don't know, but I have a shirt that I wear, but it's not winterish. But yesterday, when I did go out, I grabbed a little coat that I had that's, for the winter sort of, because it was cold here. It was really cool here last night. I wonder if that
Marie's
could
here
be
in
it.
Florida.
I don't have any of this.
It could be that coat, only if it's really thick, though, like a man would wear. That's what it felt like. It felt heavy. That's why I thought maybe it was his.
Jacket. Yeah, it could be. He loved his jacket. What kind of, are you getting any feelings with that? Because I gave some of his jackets away.
No, but I think it just could be a reference to it. And I was feeling the heaviness and like they were expensive. They were nice, good. But I thought maybe you wore it. But even if you gave it away, I could see him talking about that. So, I just want to throw that out there.
And it could be because I didn't bring anything down to Florida here with me. I tried to give everything away, but I did give a few of his jackets to family members. So.
All right. No, he's telling me we're off on that. There's some kind of a link. Let me put it this way then. When you went out, when you did this up north, I think you were in Virginia, and it was cold, would you not control, but would you be the one getting the heavy coat or the right coat, or make him wear one heavy enough to be in the cold weather? Were you like in charge of what he wore?
Usually he knew what to wear, but then I could be a pain in the butt, if I saw something. I might have said something. You never know. But
Okay,
usually he did, Yeah.
Yeah, it could be that feeling of it. I just felt like whatever it was, somehow I want to connect it. Either you purchased it for him, but it's a heavy coat, and I just felt you're somehow connected. So I'm going to let it go at that for a minute, just to see where else he can take me here.
Well, he bought me a coat. It could be that.
I kind of like that.
A heavy one.
And it's easy to get confused when they don't give me every little detail. So then I try to explain, what's being shown. When's the last time you had a soda or a drink with a cover on the top and a red straw in the drink?
Oh la la! I just got that I went to the steakhouse here, and I decided, you know what? I'm just going to get the kids' meal to go because to stop by there on the way home. and I got the kids meal, and you could get a drink, and I got the cranberry juice with a straw in it, like a little kid.
I love it. It's the straw that got my attention. And Donald wants you to know he was with you while all that was going on. And he said it smells delicious. He wishes he could take the bite with you, and sit down and have a regular meal with you.
But can he eat up there?
Yes.
Everything I've read and heard, even from them, they do. Or they at least experience food. Maybe not exactly like we do, but they do it in their own way. And I think there's a memory there of their memory is like our tasting, touching, feeling. I would imagine everything they do is a little different, even touching human or touching another spirit. It's got to be different than what we experience. But
not really. Not really. It's totally solid, just like it does in this world. And the only reason we eat in this world is because we eat in that world. But the food we eat there is spiritual because we're in spiritual bodies and we eat spiritual food. But here we have to have spiritual and physical food because we have a physical body.
So you think they can taste it, Vaishali, up there?
Oh, of course they can. Absolutely.
Yeah, I've been told that they do taste. They do have it, but I didn't understand that's the way it worked.
The reason that we taste, the reason that we see, the reason that we hear is because those functions of mind are happening in the spiritual world. The physical world just gives you the receiver to pick it up, to see it, to hear it. But it's all going on in the spiritual world. The reason that we see and we taste and we do that is because it happens in the spiritual world. Because everything that exists here only exists here because it's in the spiritual world. The spiritual world is more real than the physical world. But the spiritual world is unlimited, so it has a lot more stuff in it than we do here.
Ask Don if he had a steak dinner when I had one.
Typically they do, or at least he's around you while you're having it. He gave me something completely different. They don't always, it's not like you and I on a cell phone. It doesn't work quite that easily. First of all, I felt I was at the ocean and I'm holding my ears because of the noise. And I know we had the Blue Angels in town, but I think they were more inland at NAS. Was there a very loud noise coming from the ocean for you?
Not that I remember.
Could be the wind, could be
Ian.
It could, I hear the winds a lot, with the like the Nicole and, Ian and all those, winds strong then here.
That's what he's just letting me know, that the noise from the ocean or from that area was very, very strong, very, very loud. And he's just, mentioning that he was with you while that was going on. And did you scrape your car in a parking lot?
No, but that's not good. No. I didn't know. God bless. No, so far so good. Somebody else could have done that in the family, though.
True. Let me email me or whatever, because you've witnessed it yourself, where something will come through and then we don't get it now, but it gets updated through the other person.
Right. Did you say anything about eating?
About what?
About eating food?
He's not giving anything on that, but I do feel that there's probably a newcomer in the family. Was there a baby born?
No. Was the scraping of the car, was it okay? It wasn't anything serious, right?
No, it was minor. In fact, someone may have already done it and you're not aware of it, but Donald is aware of it.
I better go down there and look.
It wouldn't hurt.
I better go down there.
And I'm getting just like being in a grocery store parking lot, something like that. And then I feel like someone tapped it, scraped it, whatever. And I don't think I've ever said that during a reading, but I'm getting it now. I'm like viewing it as it's happening. So I would at least look at it and give it a good eye, see if something's going on. But I really do feel like if a baby's not born, I don't know if someone's changing their name, because this started off a feeling of a name change or a name added or a name
Okay.
modified within the family.
Interesting. Maybe there, you know what, it could be, I'll have to check in and then I can let you know about that. Yeah, it's definitely Don though that's coming in, right? Do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I know his energy. And then the other things he already talked about, even the drink was kind of cool, the way he's able to put the picture right in front of my eyes very clearly. Same way with the car being, and I heard the word scraped. So, you may have to look a little bit. It's easy to do. It's easy to scrape something and then not hear it. So,
Yeah.
and it's easy for it to happen when you're not in the vehicle as well.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. He doesn't say anything though that he eats up there, huh? If he can, ask him if he can eat. He loves his pork. He loves pork. Oh my goodness. We go to Chinese restaurant. Ask him if he eats Chinese food up there.
You know what I'm getting from him? He's actually rubbing his belly and then spreading his arms like, look at the spread. Whatever they want, they've got.
Hey,
Like-
I have a
like-
question for you.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? This is interesting because I know a lot of people, if they're listening right now, they'll want to know about this. Is, how, I'll be listening to, to different, mediums and stuff like that, and they'll say, okay, do you feel him? His soul just went through you. What in the world is that about? Why would their souls just go through us and we get the cold, the chills or whatever? Why do they do that?
I'll let Wishali answer that. She's more in tune to that type of observation than I am. I mean, I've had it happen. I know what it's all about, but
There's a feature of the spiritual world that's really kind of far out, cool and groovy, to steal another decade's vernacular. Marie, you ever have a conversation with someone that you love and you care about, and you're like, God, I wish you could have seen this. I wish you could have tasted this. I wish you could have felt what I felt like when I held the baby for the first time. Have you ever had a conversation like that where there was something that happened internally with you and you wanted to share it with somebody outside of yourself? Has that ever happened?
Oh, yes. I'm sure. Yes.
In the spiritual world, you can share that feeling of love. You can share what you want to communicate to someone. And you do that by sharing the same space, or what they call passing through you, pass through you. Let me give you an example. I knew about this from the writings of Emanuel Swedenborg. He's perhaps next to Jesus, he is the most profound Christian mystic that ever lived. And he was talking about this feature of the spiritual world that happens where you can send a portion of your love and your experience and your truth, and you can pass that through someone else so they can taste it and see it and feel it just like you did, and sharing that experience with you. So I'm watching this paranormal story, and it's about haunted locations. And this guy is a security guard at a Civil War memorial. And he pulls up his car at 2:30 in the morning because he likes to fill out his work schedule or his work report from 2 to 2:30 in the car because it's quiet and there's no interruptions. And he sits there for a while. And he looks up at the war memorial and he sees this guy dressed in gray. And he's thinking, oh no, this can't be good. People come out to deface the memorial at night when people aren't out here. So he gets out of his car, he's got his flashlight, takes it and he puts it on the guy, and he realizes the guy's walking towards him, and he realizes it is a Confederate soldier in the uniform with the cap, with the gun, and his face is in agonizingly twisted pain. And he passes through the security guard, and when he does, the security guard is on the battlefield. He knows who this young man is. He knows his name.
wow.
He knows his childhood. He knows everything about him. He recognizes all the people on the field, who knows who they are. He knows who he grew up with. And he feels this agonizing pain as a bayonet comes from his back and protrudes out his front. And the man is stuck in his death. and he shared it with the guard, and it's a means of getting help. Does this elucidate this feature of the spiritual world, Marie, any better? Does it flesh it out and give it any more substance for you?
So I guess they just want us to feel when they come through us, then trying to give us what they're feeling.
It's a deeper form of sharing and closeness and connectedness. I know what you went through. I know how you feel. I'm not guessing. I'm not projecting. I went through it with you. I felt it with you. We are one.
Because they do it, I guess they do it a lot, because people say, did you just feel him? He just went through you, like that. And
that's how they hug you. That's how they love you. Yes, it does happen quite a bit. You might say it's how they communicate.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's good. Anyways, Chuck, anything, Rachelle, you gave me Solace. I listened to that back, and Chuck, of course, Chuck does. He's like my brother there. He takes care of me. You guys, I listened to the recording back. I felt so good. I hope I can get this recording too. And I know it's almost time though. Chuck, is there anything, last thing or anything coming through?
It's a very small validation, but what's going on with the washing machine where you're at, or your laundry? I'm feeling there's a problem.
Not yet. Not yet.
No way. I know what I'm getting here. Either symbolically, it looks like the washing machine is empty. So I don't know if it's not working, or you're waiting an extra day more than normal. I don't know what this is, but it's the lack of washing clothes.
I do it when I have to, and I know I didn't understand this washing machine because the lights come on, and I thought you had to push the button, it says to stop, but it's to stop it if it's running. It's not to do that. And I kept trying to push it every time I put something inside. I put my clothes in there to fill it up before I do the wash. Finally, I caught on to that, but it could be that,
but I'm seeing it like an issue with it, and just something very humorous to Don. He sees you doing this, and like he figures it out real quick because he knows, and then it took you a little while, and he just thinks it's funny. That's all.
Took me a little while. I had to ask somebody.
All right, but at least it's something. You can at least understand he was around you again, and that's pretty much all he's trying to prove with me today. He's always going to be around you. He said, you really make him happy. You brighten up his day.
This is great talking with all of you guys. Vishali, Cameron, please tell your wife too. And wish you, Chuck, you guys have a good Thanksgiving. If I don't talk to you, Chuck, before, but all of you, and I just so glad you had the show, and big hugs and everything, and have a happy Thanksgiving, and thank you very much.
And Marie promises she'll call back next month so that Chuck can give you a Christmas love message from Don.
I will. God bless.
All right.
Love
that.
So
much. Have a
great
good
hearing
weekend.
from you.
Bye-bye.
Cameron, God bless you for letting us go right up against 5 o'clock. Until we do it again next week. Rock on, babies.
Welcome to You Are What You Love, your window into the future of spirituality. We're going to talk to you about your life and the evolution of your soul while we bring alive the essence of eternal truth. So here is your host, the author of You Are What You Love, Vaishali.